Fire it up. Good evening. Welcome to the October 28th, 2025 meeting of the Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh.
Can you hear me?
Nope.
Your microphone?
Sure.
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Suburban Trends and Daily Record newspapers, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with Township policy.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for individuals serving our nation, also remembering the people in the path of Melissa. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and the general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Amen.
The clerk will please call the roll.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Here.
Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mrs. Russell is absent. Mr. Siracusa?
Here.
Mayor Dracy?
I am here. Presentations, there are none. Reports from volunteers. At this time, are there any reports or comments from any of the volunteers serving our community? Yes, sir. Mr. Peter.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Peter Schmidt. I want to report on the hoedown this year. We, on our stand of the EDC, we had index cards for people who wanted some handouts. Here I have the index cards. And they had to write down what do they like most about our township. And we actually collected 67 cards. And I have to say, throughout, positive news, positive feedback. Yeah, and I tabulated that a little bit. So the biggest sort of positive feedback is nice people in our community, nice feeling of a community. And then next was the parks and the trail. Got very good feedback, and then safety was one sort of then lower down and good for seniors, good for small. One I want to single out, just a 6-year-old boy came to the stand and I said, here, you have to fill this out. And he said, Mom, how do you spell school? And Mom said, with 2 O's. And he wrote down school. And I think a town does something right if kids like to go to school. I mean, the town and the school and the teachers. Yeah, and I don't know whether we can learn something from this or not, but certainly we got a lot of positive feedback that people like to live in this community. Okay? That's mine.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that and for the committee for putting that together. And somebody told me a long time ago, if you want an honest opinion, ask a 5-year-old. Because they don't know anything other than give an honest opinion, right? Any other volunteers? Peter, thank you again, and thank the EDC for doing that. It's very good information. Moving on with the agenda is public comment. The comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. Additional time is reserved later in the meeting. We welcome comments, suggestions, and questions during the comment period. However, the purpose of this is to allow public comment, not to engage in dialogue. If you have a specific question, please feel free to pose it and then follow up with staff via telephone or email. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, please. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized and come to the microphone and provide your name for the record. Anyone? All right. Seeing none, we'll close this portion of the meeting and move on to the manager's report. Mr. Brewer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Running quickly through my written report, and then I have one additional item that is not within the written report. Back in September, we had a conversation about the outside duty ordinance and the administration of that being through a third party. The ordinance has now been prepared based upon the discussion we took place at the council meeting, as well as with input from the police department and Mr. Ustaik and me. At the time, there was a question regarding whether the administrative fee, which is 8%, not 20%, so it's previously reported to 20, it's 8%, would be charged to the Board of Education. Through my conversation with the chief, the board will work directly with PD as they currently currently do solar work outside of the third party, so therefore there will be no unnecessary expenditures of taxpayer dollars. Otherwise, there's no, of course, cost to the municipality. Within the memo, I included the discussion points that took place in September, just to refresh everybody's memory. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, that's just there for edification purposes. Next up, and that ordinance is scheduled for potential introduction if the council sees fit. Next up, for public hearing and potential adoption, we have the solid waste utility rates. As we discussed over many meetings, unfortunately, the costs went up. I don't want to use exponentially because it seems almost like it's a platitude these days, but they went up significantly. And as a result of that, the rates have to be adjusted accordingly. The council was really struck with the decision because to reduce to the lowest level cost of all services would have resulted in a $200 annual increase, and then to maintain the current levels of service, it's roughly $280. So no matter what, it was going up significantly again. And unfortunately, there's nothing to do with that other than to manage the process the best we can. We did reject bids. We did go back out. We did try to get the best prices possible with one bidder in the nature of the service in New Jersey. The direction was given to maintain the level of service. As a result of the analysis of necessary rates to support those awards, they are scheduled for public hearing and potential adoption. We also have public hearing and potential adoption on the Greenview pickleball tennis court fee membership costs. Previously established to have a $20 and $150 fee. The Green Acres regulations do not permit out of municipal residents, but in-state residents to be charged anything more than 100% of the in-town resident. So that has been reduced to 20 and 40. We have a request from the Board of Education. The council previously received a request from the Board of Education for support toward an accessible playground at North Boulevard School. This was a subject of conversation during the budget process for the 2025 budget. The Board of Education and volunteers were seeking grants to locate an accessible playground at North Boulevard School because that is the location of the programs where those students are housed. And a request was made if the council would support, through making this a community accessible playground, a portion of the cash match. At the council's direction, $30,000 was appropriated in the 2025 capital budget, and we've moved forward with that. I'm not sure what the success or challenges were with the grants, but the previously identified grants may not have come to fruition, and now the request is being made that an application be made to Green Acres for support for the playground. Well, it's a state program, so there's some bureaucratic hurdles with Green Acres. The Board of Education is not permitted to make an application to Green Acres, only the municipality is. So as a component of that, there is a document which is included under the resolution for the council's consideration, signing, that I'm authorized to sign, but it signals to the state that the township is willing to take the steps necessary to be the lead on that application, execute a lease agreement to, in essence, make that portion of the board property township, and move forward accordingly. Based upon the council's direction with respect to the cash match, I made an assumption that you would want us to proceed with this application and schedule the resolution authorizing its submission. There's already a meeting scheduled next week. We're up and running with this. The access to the playground would, of course, be limited during school time, so you wouldn't be able to go there during regular school hours, but you would be able to, and everyone kind of does anyway on the off hours. So that's why that item has been scheduled in the manner that it is, and the application kind of summarizes the other components of it that are required. Mr. Osteich is aware of this, has dealt with this in the past. I've also dealt with this in the past, and based upon the partnership with the Board of Education, it seemed a little bit like a no-brainer to me.
And if I remember correctly, this is going to be structured for special needs children, because that's where
Yes,
they go
it's
to.
the accessible.
Yeah.
Yep, the accessible playground. So that's that item. And then the last two items in my written report are for discussion. One is a request from Bach Automotive to connect to the sewer main, and the last is regarding an ordinance to regulate certain electric bicycles and scooters. With respect to the final item that is not in my written report, but the council has documentation before it, Friday afternoon I received an email from Mr. Wisniewski, who's kind enough to appear this evening. Back some recent time ago, there was a presentation made regarding African American history in Pequannock, and during that presentation, or as a component of all of that, it was noted that there were remains discovered sometime around 1936 at McDonald's Beach that were remains that were from African Americans in the community. Those remains remains were transferred to Rutgers. They were believed to have been placed there sometime around 1855. And they are now interned behind the Reformed Church across the street. So as a component of that process and recognizing the history, there was a recommendation from the Historic District Commission and the chair, who is Mr. Wisniewski, that there be a marker placed as the site was nominated for the New Jersey Black Heritage Trail. So as a component of the marker, the Historic District Commission identified some areas which are noted in the documentation for the governing body. I sent an email back to Mr. Wisniewski earlier today. I believe, and Public Works leadership believes, the best location for the marker would be the Woodland Lake parking lot area, as it allows for easy visitation, easy parking. It's the closest in proximity to McDonald's Beach, where it's reported that the remains were found back in the 30s. In reviewing this with Mr. Oostdijk, while I have certain authorities with respect to the letter, the placement of a marker on public property really should be run by the governing body. The reason it wasn't scheduled for a future meeting was because there's a deadline of October 31st for the documentation to be submitted. So if there are questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Again, Mr. Wisniewski was kind enough to come out this evening. If the council sees fit to approve it, we'll proceed accordingly.
I have no problem with that. I think it's a good
No, I
idea.
think it's great. Recognize that.
Woodland Lake.
Yeah.
I think so.
Seems like a good place.
Straight
Great.
off Alexander.
Great, Dave, you agree?
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Putting that together.
So we'll proceed accordingly and sign the necessary documents and complete them in consultation with Mr. Wisniewski tomorrow, and we can get it in before the 31st.
I'll be around.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds perfect. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Mr. Wisniewski.
Thanks for your work.
Right, any other comments from council on the report?
The only thing I wanted to ask really quick, and forgive me if I'm repeating myself, I'm trying to remember. When we're talking about the off-duty police employment, does that, would stuff like that count for, like, if you need police at, like, a chamber event? Or is that something totally different?
Like the Board of Education.
Like, I know we talked about Board of Education, but I
Yeah,
was
if there's a
looking at, like-
public event where Rotary or somebody else is working on
Right.
something, I believe we could work around.
Like, that's why I was wondering about, like, some of these, like, chamber and
Because
Rotary.
at those events, the outside organization isn't paying for the police anyway.
Right.
There's a request made, so essentially it's an internal
Okay.
assignment of responsibility.
It's more for outside.
So it's more just for the outside contractors, and it just makes it easier for bookkeeping and stuff like that.
It addresses a significant financial liability that the township faces, and it really has become the norm.
Yeah.
And when we originally discussed this back in September, we had the significant project, I keep saying significant tonight, I don't know why. We had the big project, the PFAS project, and at the conclusion of the PFAS project, the contractor said, do you use company X or do you use company Y for your outside duty? And we said, no, we handle it in-house still, and they went, what?
PFAS, or was it
Okay.
the Verizon?
PFAS. The Verizon build-out was where we had the significant financial liability that we had to send some people after. And trust me, Chief Community is a heck of a bill collector. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
He can definitely influence some folks, but we don't want to use them in that capacity unless we
All
can.
right, so it doesn't affect those other things? Okay.
Correct. Nothing internal.
Okay.
Or nothing that is part of community events that the township
Right.
provides the services based upon the direction of the governing body.
Okay.
Any other comments?
You can take the motion.
No, and I just want to say, again, just on the garbage collection, the solid waste, we tried to keep it down as much as we could, but at the end of the day, it wasn't that much more to go with the full service like we have now, garbage twice a week, and, each recycling once a week. So we felt prudent, it was worth it to stay that way.
And vegetated waste from April 1st until
Right.
the last ever.
Thank you.
And we only had one bid.
Yeah. So,
Number 82.
okay, so moving on, public hearings. Next on the agenda is public hearing on ordinance number 2025-14. Ms. Marsh.
Ordinance number 2025-14 is an ordinance amending Chapters 152 and 237 of the Code of the Township of Pequannock and establishing membership fees and rules for pickleball and tennis court use.
Thank you. Are there any comments from council?
Nope.
Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
If anyone in the audience has any questions or comments on this ordinance, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
I'll make that motion to adopt ordinance 2025-14 through 2025-15.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa?
Yes.
Mayor Dreesy?
Yes. Next on the agenda is public hearing on ordinance number 2025-15. Ms. Marsh.
Ordinance 2025-15 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 124 entitled Solid Waste Utility of the Code of the Township of Pequannock.
Thank you. Are there any comments from council? Nope. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If anyone in the public has any questions or comments on this ordinance, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
Go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
I know, I think I just moved both of them.
That's all right. Wait. No,
I'll figure it out.
no, Dave did it.
You're special
and
today,
then-
Vince.
We were just rolling, it's all.
It was David did it.
Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
Go ahead, Dave.
I'm going to move it, yeah, 2025-15.
All right, second.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa?
Yes.
Mayor Dreesy?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is introduction of ordinances. Ms. Marsh.
Ordinance number 2025-16 is an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Pequannock and regulating outside detail police services.
Thank you. Mr. Brewer, any other comments?
Not unless there are questions, sir. Thank you.
All right, any comments from council?
Nope.
Is there a motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance number 2025-16.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lawrence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
I'll abstain.
Mr. Siracusa?
Yes.
Mayor Dreesy?
Yes. Next is resolutions. Ms. Marsh.
Beginning with Resolution R 2025-198, extending the grace period for the fourth quarter payment of water, utility, and sewer utility charges. That's the formalization of the motion you made last meeting.
Right.
2025-199, authorizing the execution of an agreement between Damian Ramirez and Wanda Ramirez for the removal of encroachments on municipal property. 200, authorizing the execution and submission of a New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection Green Acres program request for Green Acres funding for facilities on Board of Education property form. R 2025-201, determining the form and other details of one or more notes relating to the construction financing loan program of the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank to be issued in the aggregate principal amount of up to $5,250,000, providing for the issuance and sale of such notes to the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank and authorizing the execution and delivery of such notes by the township in favor of the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, all pursuant to the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank Construction Financing Loan Program.
Say that again.
I thought I missed a line in there. R 2025-202, authorizing tax office refunds, overpayments, or cancellations, and 2025-203, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the October 9th, 2025 bill list and FEMA elevation escrow list.
Thank you. You definitely get a gold star for number 201. That was a mouthful. Are there any comments on the resolutions from council?
No.
None. Is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Do you have to say the numbers?
No, it's fine.
No? Okay, we're good.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa?
Yes.
Mayor Dreesy?
Yes. Moving on, the next item is items for discussion. The first item, I guess, is the Bach Automotive Sewer Connection request.
Yes, sir. If you'd like, I can give a quick orientation to that. The council has in its packet correspondence from Mr. Bach that includes a map and some estimates. The request simply is to create a 50-foot sewer lateral in the municipal right-of-way and connect from Bach Automotive into a manhole. reason this is before the governing body is because the sewer master plan and the corresponding municipal code requires the connection of properties to sewers to be in front of the property and to not be in a manhole. So essentially, the policy, which is codified, requires the extension of the main to then have Bach Automotive connect into it. The request was already made to staff and me. It was denied because staff does not have the authority to grant waiver from or relief from municipal ordinances. Only the council or the appropriate land use body has that authority. What is proposed is colloquially referred to as a spaghetti line. And the challenge with spaghetti lines is, and the reason the ordinance prohibits it is because maintenance can be an issue and locating the line can be a challenge. When everybody who's there sees what's constructed, addresses it, that's fine. But 50 years from now, it gets a little bit interesting. The council does have some examples where previous relief has been given for this requirement, and in those examples, a sewer extension agreement has been executed so that everything is clearly articulated and on file with the Public Works Department, so locating the things is not as much of a challenge. Within the packet that was provided to the governing body are estimates. One is for the spaghetti line, the other is for the extension of the main as would be required by code, which would be the entire street. So one of the things I note in my memo is I don't know if the property owner contemplated or got estimates to extend the main just in front of his property, which would be an intermediary step, but also significantly more costly than the proposed 50-foot lateral. So as this was a request made to the governing body, it was scheduled for discussion. I'm happy to answer any questions or address any follow-up that the council sees.
Yeah, does anybody else tie into this?
No one else can tie into the spaghetti line as it's being proposed, so no.
And I know there's been conversation about future development past this set property. I think it should be in the agreement that if the property does ever get developed, that Mr. Bach would have to connect to that line.
Or whoever owns it.
And abandon, or whoever owns it, would have to abandon his spaghetti line and connect to the regular sewer line.
Which would be consistent with other approvals that have been provided.
Yeah, I was going to say, how often have we done other,
Just did one for the school.
Once in my experience.
just once?
In my experience.
Oh, okay.
This is an unusual, it's an unusual request.
It's an unusual street, too.
Yeah, it is
It's
an-
unusual circumstances, yeah.
It's not fully improved.
And I don't know if that'll ever be developed
Yeah.
because it's wet.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues.
And I don't think it's high use.
The development potential is limited now. 100 years from now, who knows?
Who knows,
But that
but-
bridge could also
they
be
can
crossed at that time.
But I am not
But
very-
you could put stuff in the agreement, like you said.
I think in the agreement has to say that if it ever is developed and a regular sewer line gets run down that street,
Yeah, that would have to be tie in.
he would have to tie in, abandon his spaghetti line and tie into the regular sewer line at his cost.
Right, so the consensus I'm hearing is the council is okay with granting the necessary relief. If that's the case, I'll work with Mr. Osteich and the property owner and his professionals to prepare the necessary documents for council approval.
I mean, it would make more sense for this to be on sewers.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to do, is
Right.
get people on sewers, but not provide an
Right.
unnecessary burden
Yeah.
to get there.
Now,
Right?
you just said you don't know if the cost he did was just for,
Well, the cost is for the spaghetti line and doing something which would be consistent with our code, which would require the main to be extended down the street.
Yeah, so-
So it would be shorter if he extended to his property, but still significantly more costly than the spaghetti.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why the ordinance is there, so anybody just can't do it. It
Right.
has to be on a case by case, and it just, I don't have an issue with this one.
As long as it's done per our
As long
code.
as it,
Yeah, and all permits required, et cetera.
Okay, so as in the past example, we'll require specific plans and
Yep.
an agreement will
Yeah.
be prepared identifying all the obligations and responsibility for maintenance and things like that, because that's the other thing, is we don't want Public Works to be responsible for essentially
do
a
their
sewer
thing.
connection.
I'm sure they'll do their due diligence.
Yep.
Okay. We'll proceed accordingly.
All right, we good with that one?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Next item is electric bike and scooter ordinance. This is interesting.
Previously, I reported to the governing body at the last meeting that the Police Department, Mr. Ostake, me, and other professionals were reviewing kind of what's going around. There's been a spate of accidents, some of them fatal, and there's some significant concerns because you have technology and, two-wheeled vehicles, for lack of a better description, that are capable of speeds that are quiet and create some significant safety hazards. So we endeavored to take a look at the ordinances that are around in the region, and with a lot of effort and input from the police department, put forth something for the council's consideration that seeks to address electric scooters and Class 1 and Class 2 e-bikes.
Can you explain a little bit between Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3?
It's amazing the things you learn. A couple years ago, it was ambulance types.
Then it was fire trucks.
Fire trucks is an ongoing one.
Yeah.
From what the definitions are included in the ordinance, and from what I understand, Class 1 e-bike is essentially a pedal assist. So when you pedal, there's something that helps you pedal faster, and if you're not pedaling, it'll do a little bit, but it's not going to do it for you. Class 2 is a pedal with some sort of throttle, whether it be a trigger or a twist like you do with a motorcycle. And Class 3 would be those that are not regulated as a component of this, which do not have pedals and exceed the identified speeds. Those are currently regulated by state statute. So that's why the ordinance focuses more on those that are not as regulated.
So examples of Class 3?
No pedals.
Those with no pedals that go 40.
Which,
But how about
Class 2, I
those
think-
with
But I
pedals
believe
that
they
go-
own
Class 3 is a
go
maximum
slower.
of 20.
20 and
20
less
miles an hour.
pedals is with the triggers
Maximum.
Class 2, and then the others are just pedal. Mr. Oslik, I believe the Class 3s, you have to be registered.
Class 3s, you have to have a driver's license.
Driver's license, they have to be registered with the state of New Jersey.
Correct.
So they're treated more like...
So this
insured.
is only addressing 1 and 2?
Correct.
Great, but how about these motorcycle-looking things that the kids are driving around on? They don't have any pedals.
Well,
Then that would require a license, and the police
they would
department
have
would
to
take
be
effect.
and there is,
legal to drive.
That's interesting.
There is regulations for that.
Okay.
Yes.
Right, it just doesn't fall under
All right, well, this is good because we're
The police
kind
can pull them
of
over.
learning stuff ourselves, but also providing knowledge to the residents that a lot of these things that kids are driving, they probably shouldn't be driving.
Correct.
Because go ahead, you can finish.
Yeah.
No, that's all right, and that's that. A lot of people that have Class 3 e-bikes may not be aware of the requirements to do things. It's a learning curve. And when the state does things, people just may not know about it. So one of the benefits of doing a local ordinance is it'll allow the police department to engage in an active education campaign, and if there's violations, we can write a local ordinance as opposed to just simply state statute.
Well, we definitely need to do it because it's very dangerous. And I know a lot of the towns around.
Is this something that we could work with the Board of Ed on for an information push?
But once we get this, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I know
And then we can put on the website.
Juliana was supposedly talking about this in school.
It's already a subject of discussion within our interaction with the
Yeah.
schools, but this will really create a springboard for an educational campaign through social media and other elements. There are some components of the ordinance that I just want to review with the council. Or do you have a question, sir?
Oh, I think you're going to bring it up because I circled it.
The sidewalks.
Sidewalks.
So currently, operation of a bicycle is prohibited on a sidewalk.
Right.
As someone that walks on sidewalks a lot, I will encounter people with bicycles. If it's a 10-year-old kid, I tend to be a bit more sympathetic than if it's an adult. That's just my own personal opinion. However, the ordinance as it's being circulated and the examples that we're finding permits the operation of bicycles and scooters that aren't electric on sidewalks. So that's a policy question that the council should think about and make a decision whether we want to permit that to exist when it doesn't now, or we want to leave the current prohibitions in place.
I don't think Class 1 or 2 should be on the sidewalk.
No, this is just with pedals.
This is just regular
Just with
bicycle.
pedals. This ordinance would just permit those bicycles with pedals.
I kind of think sidewalks are for walking.
And it's completely up
That's my
to- it's
opinion.
completely up to council.
I agree.
I mean, if a kid wants to
But what
ride
if
the
it's a
sidewalk,
little kid?
I don't think they're going to kick them off. But if you get everybody
Right.
The concern.
sidewalk,
So
Yeah,
I
we're gonna walk.
I can
You're right.
Right, I can make both arguments. You don't want to make the sidewalk into a bike lane.
Correct.
no.
So you have people traversing the
would say,
community
yeah,
on the sidewalk
shouldn't be on the
at
sidewalk.
20 miles an hour on a road.
And nobody's going to stop a fight.
And it's only 4 foot wide.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna make a revision to
Yeah.
to keep the prohibition
I
over
would
use of
keep
bicycles.
that.
Yeah, I would say so.
That's excellent, we'll make that revision. The other components of the ordinance, again, using the examples that are being circulated, state that the operation of a Class 1 and 2 e-bike or an electric scooter, unless expressly permitted by signage, is prohibited. So even in, for example, the parking lot of the municipal building, it wouldn't be permitted to be on an e-bike or a scooter or PV park parking lot, etc. There's a song about signs and what they do to the scenery. I'm not going to hum it or sing it because I can't sing well.
Thank you.
But the addition of lots of signs may not be something the council wants.
Right.
So do we want to consider, with the recommendation of staff, the allowance for certain parking lots in other public areas
Where they
it's not
feel-
specific?
Where they feel it's okay.
I'm okay with that.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if a pedal assist is just like a bike in my mind.
Right.
The one with a throttle is something
Right, different.
different. That's more of a motorized vehicle to me. So my thought is, if you can drive that on the street, why can't I drive my dirt bike on the street? It's a motorized vehicle. It's got a motor.
What we're talking about.
So we're talking about 1 and 2, you're talking about a 2, which would be regulated by this ordinance. So the question is, do we want to allow them in certain areas? I understand what you're saying
I think
about...
the pedal assist bike should be allowed wherever a bike goes. The one with the throttle, I'm thinking is different. That's what I'm,
And may be allowed in certain areas, but
could be.
But are we talking about signage?
So the reason I bring it up is because they're prohibited unless expressly permitted on public property. So I understand Mayor Dreese is talking about something different
Right.
and creating a further divide, not lumping Class 1 and 2 together, but creating a division between Class 1s and Class 2s with different levels of permission. But specific to how the ordinance was drafted, I mean, that's another factor, and that's up to the council, but specific to how the ordinance is drafted, you wouldn't be able to ride it. If you took a Class 1 or 2 e-bike to baseball practice at Greenview,
That makes no sense.
technically riding it in the parking lot would not be permitted,
that
unless there was a
doesn't make
sign saying you're allowed to ride it in the parking
Yeah,
lot.
that doesn't make sense.
So again,
where are they going to ride it?
based on the model, I want to check with the council, and the comment made previously was create a recommendation from the police department,
Correct.
Parks and Rec, to say where it should be allowed, and we can make
Yes.
that explicit in the ordinance, so we don't have signs everywhere saying, yes,
Correct.
no, yes, no, yes.
That
Okay.
makes sense.
People
Let the
actually read
police-
signs.
Yeah, the police.
They help
and the
with
staff
enforcement.
will make that recommendation. So the police and staff will make that recommendation, and ultimately it'll be.
And it'll be enumerated in the ordinance for the council's consideration of
Okay.
potential reduction.
Especially since a number of kids drive these and they go to parks for practice.
Yeah, they're going to go to
whatever,
baseball
whatever.
practice. You can't, what are they going to do?
As long as they're still at the pickleball court.
But I'm sure you're looking at the other towns and what they're doing.
That's where they go.
Yeah, most towns are doing this and prohibiting it everywhere, but that was something that we discussed internally as something that may not be the best application for Pequannock Township. Within the ordinance, it does specifically include the enforcement of the Morris County Park Commission's rules and regulations on the trail, as anyone who violates the county's rules and regulations can be subject to violation of this ordinance, and they can ticket them for that. So it'll include that as a component of it. By way of reference, on the county trail, Class 1 and 2 e-bikes and scooters are permitted. Segways are also permitted. Class 3 is not. And then the last thing I just want to bring to the council's attention is the enforcement and the penalties. So violations and penalties, which are the last 3 pages, 2 pages really, the heading starts on page 3. The last 2 pages, it talks about violations for those over the age of 18 and penalties for violations for those under the age of 18, and specifically holding parents responsible. So again, just, it's not long in terms of there's some, the zoning ordinance is hundreds of pages, but it does include a lot of information, so those are just the things I want to make sure I call to the council's attention prior to moving forward for potential introduction, to make sure everyone is okay with what's been prepared.
Works for me. That's
would
what the
say
police
so.
want. Works for me.
Yeah, the police obviously
Yeah, I don't have any issue with the fines
recommended that.
or the responsibility.
Okay.
It's important to do, though. Got to keep everybody safe.
Are there any other elements of this that are concerns, there are questions. Want to see more, we want to see less?
Low speed means 20 miles an hour or less?
Yes.
Maybe with the note for the parks, because now that we're allowed in parks, they got to stay off the fields and the courts, right? They can drive in the parking lot,
Yeah,
but just not on.
my initial thought, and obviously I'll confirm this with the staff that's heavily involved, would be you're allowed to bring it to in the parking lot and put it on the bike rack.
Yes.
You're not driving on the paths.
Right.
Yeah.
So for example, in Greenview, we don't want someone whipping down, 15 miles an hour between
That's a
front lot
sidewalk.
and back lot. That's a sidewalk.
I don't want them driving around
I would think.
softball, baseball fields at Washington Park.
Right. No doing jumps off the mound.
Yeah, they can drive it to the park it, go to their practice.
Use it essentially as transportation, but it's not a bike trail.
Right.
Okay.
If they want a bike trail, they've got a nice 5-mile one-way run. Okay. Obviously, this is not the last time council can comment on it, so once the ordinance is drafted up for potential reduction,
I think it's a good jump off.
any changes we could make.
Start.
And obviously, things could be changed in the future if other issues come up and desire is expressed by the council. Otherwise, thank you very much. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
this is about as good as time as any to bring this up.
Sure.
I have another item of discussion which surfaced this morning, which is, for a variety of reasons, we wound up with a planning board meeting and the November 10th council meeting scheduled on the same day, at the same time, in the same place.
That's going to be fun. We each get 10 minutes.
It might be confusing. And normally, they would reschedule the planning board meeting, but the applicant's already sent out all the notices. So we either need to, I would suggest either moving the council meeting or canceling the council meeting.
I'm okay with canceling it if there's nothing on the
Yeah, I mean,
agenda.
is there anything specific at the beginning of November?
There's nothing specific. By way of example, the ordinance that was introduced tonight would just be notice for public hearing on the 28th.
Wait.
No, 20, I don't know.
20,
The
it would
second,
be
the fourth,
25th.
the 25th.
25th.
So you wouldn't have a meeting in November till the 25th?
Yes, correct.
I mean, can we go that long? You think we're okay?
I'm not aware of anything that there's a deadline for.
Okay.
We may need to transfer funds, which is permissible the last 2 months of the year, but I don't think 25 days is going to make a
Okay.
difference.
I mean, if everybody's okay with that, I'm fine.
And then
You're
we're all,
making me disappointed that I don't get to run another meeting, but Dave, I'll let you go.
And if there's an emergent...
No, I agree, that's fine.
and then we're only having one in December, correct?
December 16th, correct. And if there's an emergent matter, a special meeting can be scheduled for something that has to be dealt with.
Okay.
So it doesn't leave us in a lurch in case there's an operational necessity.
But as of now, there's nothing, so.
Nothing more.
Okay, so we can,
Well, actually,
Yes.
since we're canceling the November 10th meeting, there's always a couple special meetings coming up in December and in January.
Right.
So you don't have to vote on it right now, but I'm going to be out from December 9th to the 19th. I have to have a corneal transplant, which I'm not really looking forward to.
I do not think that you'll be back on the 19th. You
I
won't
think I'll be back.
Until after Christmas.
No, I think I'll be back on the...
Okay.
Please don't tell me that. I don't... I have to have
Please be
corneal
nice to
transplant.
Miss
It's a partial one. It's minor surgery. You have to lay still for 3 days or something.
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we usually have special meetings for
Right.
appointments
Appointments of
and
committees.
committees and all
So
that.
can we make the first one on December 4th so Carol can participate?
That's the one where I give you out the list and there's a
Right.
big, long packet of all the volunteers' applications.
Yeah.
December 4th should be fine.
December 4th, 6 o'clock?
Sure.
5 o'clock even works for me, but 6 o'clock is fine.
I can make 5 o'clock. Vin, can you make 5 o'clock?
For when?
December 4th.
December 4th.
I have something.
It's right between December 3rd and-
How long it is.
6 o'clock is fine.
Just do 6 o'clock, because I'm
December
not
4th.
sure.
I can make that happen.
Can we do 6?
6 o'clock.
Just
Melissa's
keep-
got something.
Yeah, I got something at 2, and I don't know how long it's going to be.
That's fine, 6 o'clock is...
Okay, done.
And then we can schedule the second one at that time,
Right.
depending on what you need.
December 4th. 6 o'clock.
And then just put it in your heads that maybe a good time for the reorg is January 6th, which is the first
So
Tuesday
the
in January.
December 4th meeting is going to be a special meeting?
Yes.
For the appointment?
I may not be here, but do I have to be?
When?
6th.
No, I already have it on my calendar.
Do I? I can do it on the phone.
You don't have to be, I mean,
If I am.
Here, you're not here.
My calendar doesn't go that far.
I mean, we can talk about this at November
Okay, we can
27th.
talk about that.
Keep that in
That's
mind.
fine.
So that's what you're thinking, Jim?
Yeah, I'm on a
make
mission
a note.
trip thing in New Orleans for 2 weeks, starting on the 27th, so,
All right. we'll
The
see.
27th for 2 weeks?
yeah.
So it doesn't matter what day it is then.
Not that week, yeah. That's why I thought I was free, because that was the first Tuesday or whatever.
could we do it an hour before our meeting on the 13th?
Now, we're counting beyond the 10 days then, aren't we?
Oh, that would be on the 10
Yeah,
days?
you can do it, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll do it.
If you want, I can be on the phone, I'm just gonna...
Yeah, keep it on.
Or,
Yeah, do the 6th.
The 6th is fine.
Well, the last time when we fudged that a little bit by saying 10 business days, Carol. And I don't know whether the 13th is 10.
That's 9 business.
1, 2,
9 business, oh.
5, 6, 7,
Maybe we can
8,
do
9.
And actually, the 1st is a holiday, so that doesn't count as a business
I think
day.
maybe we could then.
So that would actually be 8
8
business
business
days.
days.
So you could do it.
Who's going to complain?
it's okay with me.
Not me.
On the 13th?
No, he said who's gonna complain.
Oh, yeah, not me either.
All right, so
Do it on
the
the 13th
13th
at 6 o'clock.
Okay. Then I can be here.
Regular meeting to follow thereafter.
follow immediately thereafter, right?
Right, immediately, there, not at 7 o'clock, immediately thereafter.
Yes. 6
had
at
that
6 p.m.
problem.
Yes, we did.
We all sit around looking at each other for 15
All right.
minutes before we start.
Thank you for indulging me in that conversation. I appreciate it.
So folks out there, if you want to get on a committee, now's the time to put in your application.
Yep.
Yes.
Alrighty, are we done with, no, there's no reports and notices. We're done with items for discussion, right,
Yes, sir.
Carol?
Yes.
All right, moving on to council reports and announcements. Councilwoman Florence Lynch.
Yes, just a couple of things. We had a great hoedown last weekend. It was beautiful weather. Thanks for everyone that put that together. And then the American Legion sponsored a classic car show at PV Park. That was also a great success. Shred Day was this past Saturday. People always appreciate the Shred Day that we put on. People take advantage of that. Economic Development, they meet tomorrow night here in this room at 7 p.m. So if anybody wants to get on Economic Development next year, put in your application. And I saw we have an invitation for the Veterans Day ceremony at PV School. That's on Tuesday, November 11th at 10 a.m. It's a wonderful time for the community to come together for a wonderful Veterans Day celebration. So everyone in town is invited to that. The Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts get involved, and everybody from the school comes out. It's a wonderful ceremony, so hopefully the community will come out for that. I see we're looking for sponsors and volunteers that are still needed for Wreaths Across America. That's another wonderful event that's being held on December 13th at the First Reformed Cemetery across the street. What else do I have on here? Oh, and as many of you know, I guess it was 2 years ago now, we celebrated Bud Hardacre's 100th birthday, and he was a Pequannock resident who just passed away at the age of 102, just shy of his 103rd birthday. So he'll be missed, and his services are tomorrow at Scanlon's. And last but not least, the Historic District Commission will meet Wednesday, November 5th at 7 p.m. at the railroad station. That's their next meeting. And the station will also be open to the public on Sunday, November 16th. So if you haven't been by the Pequannock Museum at the railroad station, feel free to stop by. They've done a wonderful job. That's it.
Thank you, Melissa. Councilman Cole.
All right, Pequannock Engine Company 2 is having a poker fundraiser on Sunday, November 2nd. It starts at 1 o'clock. I believe the food is out at 12 o'clock. So if you are interested, you can see any member of Company 2. Also, Company 1 is having the turkey trot on Thanksgiving morning. I believe that starts at 9 o'clock at Greenview Park. You should be able to be home by 10:30, 11 o'clock the latest.
That's a pasture one.
So if you want to burn off some calories before you eat all that good food for Thanksgiving, you can come to the turkey trot. Also, as Councilwoman Florence Lynch said, Pequannock Township was a wonderful event. Many thanks to the Parks and Rec employees, DPW employees, Pequannock Police Department, everyone that was involved. I mean, it was a fantastic job, a really nice day that day. So also, happy Halloween to all the children of the township. Enjoy and be safe. And also, please don't forget to get out and vote on November 4th. That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Dave. Councilman Syracuse.
I have nothing significant to report.
All right, good, my turn. First, I'd like to just, again, thank you for the opportunity to sit up here and serve the township. This is, we got a good group here, like to keep doing what we do. We don't always agree on everything, but we seriously take heart as to what's the best for the township. Hoedown was good, that was mentioned. I hear ladder number 2 is almost getting there. That's been a long time talking.
Yeah, they were
talking time. So
members of Company 2 flew out to Wisconsin. To see the truck. And do a final inspection. And
nice.
Should be coming.
That'll be nice to see here.
Yeah,
nice to see here.
They expect it to be in use in December.
Awesome.
Of this year?
Great news.
This year.
Wow. All right.
Probably won't have the wet down in December though. Probably be sometime in the spring.
More of an ice show, right?
Yeah. And just so everyone knows, that was a $2.1 million fire truck that the township paid for in cash.
Yep.
Not borrow any money for it.
Yes. Yes, as Councilman Cole said, vote. Coming up soon, so vote. Veterans Day ceremonies, PV has one. Rotary has a nice lunch over at the VFW in Lincoln Park. If you're a veteran or know a veteran, it's the free lunch. Come on down. I'm not sure of the date, Melissa.
Yeah, I forgot to bring that up.
I got the information.
What's the date?
I texted the picture to
I don't know, but
It's
it's
coming up in
always a good
November.
event.
It is November 12th. At 12 to 1, from 12 to 1:30 at the Lincoln Park American Legion, 133 Main Street, Lincoln Park.
Yeah, and if you want to help serve food, they like
You
that
know
too.
a veteran, bring them down.
Yeah. And also, I just would like remind, just prayers for everybody in the path of Melissa. It's, I follow this a little closer than I did in recent years just because I tend to go places where stuff happens. So this storm is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. So prayers for everybody in Melissa's path. And just parents, kids, e-bikes, please. I've had a couple of close calls myself, and it's usually, passing them and trying to make a right-hand turn, and all of a sudden you look in your mirror and they're right there because they're quick. So just please talk to them. We don't need any issues in town. Thank you to Ms. Marshrow, who's putting this together, keeping everything running smoothly. Thank you. And that's all I got. So moving on to public comment. As a reminder, we welcome comments, suggestions, and questions rather than dialogue. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, please. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized, come to the microphone, and provide your name for the record.
Go ahead. Okay. To make it quick. Peter Schmidt. I live in Manor Avenue, and since 2 or 3 weeks we have a shiny new sidewalk. And so it's really fun to walk there. I enjoy that very much. I'm interested, the work that I saw is much more than I would have believed before. It was a lot of work. I mean, you saw that too. I would be interested in understanding how much does that cost? How much is the cost? I don't know whether we have the number there.
Yeah, I'll ask Mr. Brewer when we're done. He may know, or we can get back to
understand for the citizens how much all these services cost. Item number 1. Item number 2 is I walk in the morning. I enjoy that very much. Many kids come against me and with me on the sidewalk with their bicycles. But I think these little kids are much safer on the sidewalk than they are on the turnpike itself, putting sort of their life into their hands. So maybe there is a way of doing good ordinances and keeping the kids on the safe side. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Alex Groskis, St. Room Ave. I planned to speak at your last meeting after listening to your flood control officer, Mr. Nelson. I began thinking about the drainage with regards to 60 Sunset and what Mr. Nelson said about FEMA being able to reclass areas based on such factors as ponding, hence requiring possible flood insurance for residents of that area. Keeping this in mind, I previously provided the zoning board with photographs, and I could also submit them by email if you so wish, with the flooding that occurred on Room and Sunset about a year and a half ago due to a significant rain event. With that in mind, and the extensive drainage changes that 60 Sunset is proposing, and they have not performed what's known as an H&H, who did residents go to if FEMA should deem that area requiring flood insurance because of ponding? Again, that would significantly cause additional costs to those residents in that area, not to mention lowering the value of their homes. So I'd like everybody to think about that. Additionally, previously, the lead engineer from One Global School stated that the building could hold up to 1,500 people. As you know, you probably were not at those meetings, but that was said. While they stated that staff and student body would be approximately 100 to 120 people, they never said anything, and the issue comes in if they outgrow the building, it has the potential for 1,500 people. And that area, they did not do the traffic study to account for that. So again, another thing to think about, and for the lawyer to think about in this case. Again, I'd like to take a moment to thank all the Pequannock residents for all the efforts that they placed and took the time to provide respectful and thoughtful responses and requests by with regards to the applicants' various variances that they were requesting. And finally, Mr. Walter stated a couple meetings ago that the township attorney that was engaged by the insurance company agreed to statements that of the plaintiff's attorney regarding the character of township citizens. As one of those citizens who attended those meetings and brought up many valid points, I find that significantly disrespectful to the town residents. And again, I would like to take a moment to again ask the town council to think about at least retaining an advisory attorney with regards to this matter. That's pretty much what I have with regards to 60 Sunset. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? All right, seeing none, we're going to close this section of the meeting. Mr. Brewer, can you respond to the FEMA, that's in your leg, right? Yeah. Okay. The FEMA ponding comment. I'm not sure how that works. I'm not sure if you do, or...
I'm not commenting on anything related to the litigation. So
okay.
I can comment on the sidewalk question, but I'm not touching
Got it.
related to the litigation.
All right, and then, Bob, any comments on the insurance company attorney making statements about people? I know we talked about it briefly, or you mentioned something, but it came up, so.
Yeah, we have talked about it, and that was regrettable, and I think he regrets it. And, we've moved on and made it very clear we expect something different. Going forward, I think we can say the township has retained a attorney to do independent attorney to do a secondary review. That is public knowledge. That should be public knowledge at this point because it is an expenditure. So moving forward with that.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, with respect to sidewalks, if I could credit the philosophy in the Township of Pequannock, like with municipal streets, the Township of Pequannock has a sidewalk rating program that's created by the municipal engineer, and those in greatest need are addressed moving forward. Having served as the chief executive or chief administrative officer of 4 different municipalities, it's the only town I've ever worked in that replaces sidewalks streetwide as a project. In every other town I've ever worked, the ordinances place the obligation for maintenance and repair on homeowners, so that when they fall into disrepair, they compel the homeowners to repair them or be subject to fines and summons. So this is the only town that has a sidewalk replacement program like it does have a road replacement program. Not to say we don't have the same ordinances, and if hazards do present themselves, they do that, but it is a nice, refreshing approach to dealing with the wholesale sidewalks that no one else has ever done. So credit to the council for funding that and that philosophy. With respect to the Manor Avenue project, I don't remember the exact dollar amount. It was just over $100,000. So by way of example, it is not inexpensive to do one of these every year, and the goal is to do one of the sidewalks on the list, descending in order of priority every year. That's our goal with respect to funding. Not to say we're going to hit it every time, but so far we've done a fair amount.
We did one this year?
We did Manor this year.
Rockledge last year?
Rockledge was last year. We try to do one every year. So.
Try to spend our money wisely, but keep the infrastructure.
And recognize that it's infrastructure that needs to be replaced wholesale, and rather than obligate residents to do that for an entire street, which is burdensome. I've been to public meetings where I've had to explain to a room full of angry people that yes, it is your responsibility to do this, or you're going to get fined. So the fact that doesn't happen in Pequannock Township is another indicator of the approach to dealing with the citizens.
And there's a list from the engineer that we try to...
There's a program. It's done based on analysis that's independent, and the council funds what it can, and we march forward.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is approval, minutes for approval. We have the September 9th minutes and September 23rd minutes. Any comments on those minutes?
Nope.
Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve September 9th and September 23rd.
Second.
Second, Mr. Vince. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next item on the agenda is a closed session discussion. Is there a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the Township Council to meet in executive session to discuss litigation of Pascack Valley Learning Center versus Township of Pequannock?
Yes.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? At this time, the public portion of the meeting is recessed for closed session. Thank you.